Happy New Year, everybody! And to start off 2022, I thought I'd finally talk about The Witcher Season 2, which is now streaming on Netflix and has been for a couple of weeks now. The reason I couldn't get to it earlier is because, obviously with the influx of content, personal stuff, my other job, unfortunately, things were, a little bit more cluttered in my life, and so I decided that I'll review this as and when the new year starts. So without further ado, let's get started. But before we really do, I do also want to mention that there are going to be some spoilers in this review. You have been warned. This season picks up right where the first one ended, with Geralt and Cyrilla trying to make their way through the continent, eventually getting to Kaer Morhen, where the other Witchers are, and essentially trying to figure out what she is, what her powers are, and eventually try to see if she can hold her own against the world and the elements that are going to be after them. At the same time, Yennefer of Vengerberg is still alive after the Battle of Sodden. And so while all of that is happening, there's eventually a plot with the elves who are trying to prepare for war, but also trying to find ways to make a truce with the other mages in order to thrive in a society. And it turns out that the Deathless Mother, Wallet Mare, is on the rise because she is feeding off of the temptations of many characters and eventually trying to make her way back into the world. One important thing to note is that all of this is happening right now, in the sense that the first season, while it was fun, got a lot of criticism because of its non-linear storytelling and the fact that it was very scattershot. It didn't really have a proper ebb and flow to it. Now, I don't have a problem against non-linear storytelling. I said that in that review as well, but I do think that it could have been a little more focused, and I think there could have been a better understanding of how it's taking place, because I remember halfway through the season, eventually you figure out that the timelines are different, and I thought, well, that's 4.5 hours or something like that. We're now getting to the point where it's like, oh, here's what we're doing with the storytelling. And I think that was the universal complaint, because everywhere I looked, that seemed to be the thing that was coming up. And I believe that they heard it. It seems like a lot of the criticisms that people may have had with the first season were addressed somewhere behind the scenes for season 2, because a lot of those things have been rectified. In fact, season 2 might be one of the biggest jumps in quality I've seen in quite some time. Like I said, first season was fun, but season 2 is staggeringly better than the first season. It is a gigantic leap, and it is a damn good season at that. I was riveted from the first episode to the last. This was one hell of a sophomore season. Once again, everybody in the show is doing a really good job. Henry Cavill is excellent as Geralt. I think he's a fantastic casting choice. And you can sort of tell with certain character actors, like, there is a love to the role that it feels like, yep, this person was almost like born to play this role. And every time Henry Cavill as Geralt steps onto screen, it really feels like this is some character that he's built an emotional bond with, to the point that you can see him as the character. You stop seeing Henry Cavill after a while. Same thing goes for Freya Allen, who plays Cyrilla. She's really great in this, and she gets a lot more chance to shine. A lot of the plot revolves around her, and I think that she handles it really, really well. She's a fantastic actress. And once again, Anya Chalotra, who plays Yennefer, is incredible. I thought she was fantastic in the first season, and my favorite performance of the first season was her. And in a lot of ways, she's also my favorite performance of season 2. She's an outstanding actress, and they've brought Yennefer to life in a really, really great way. The thing about this season that I really like also going off of the first season, is that a lot of people who enjoyed that didn't necessarily play the games. Like, if you did, great. And if you haven't, it sort of weaves it in a way that it's able to be enjoyed by a casual viewer as well. This is something that I've talked about with video game adaptations, is like you're trying to basically cater to two audiences. Something that I brought up in a few reviews recently of adaptations was that you want to make sure that the audiences that are watching it, they are all being represented on screen. And The Witcher does that really well, especially season 2. It doesn't feel like you have to have played the games to be able to appreciate what's happening, or to appreciate the visual splendor, or the few character moments, the little Easter eggs that are thrown in there from the games as well as the books. And I think that that's a really good thing. So for example, my parents have not seen, they haven't played the games or read the books, but they were enjoying the season. and really enjoying the season, very into it. And it's just a little detail that I want to bring up. It is a testament to the writing and the direction and to understanding the story. Speaking of that visual splendor, it is glorious. This is a spectacular looking show. They've definitely upped the budget also quite a bit. There are some really great looking monsters and some spectacular, colorful environments that are on display over here. Every way, this season is a step up from the first season. I mean, it is genuinely, like I said, a staggering jump. The score by Joseph Trapanese is also really, really great. The production design, the way everything has been crafted, all the practical sets, it's all really, really amazing. What I think is really also great about this season is the emotional core it has. It's far more stronger, and it's much more deeply affecting. It's definitely got a sense of, heartbreak to it, because in a lot of ways, while you're seeing this relationship develop between Geralt and Cirilla, you also have to take into account that Cirilla is this force of nature that could do really horrifying things if she is unleashed onto the world. And as Geralt is trying to understand that, eventually there are points where you see hints of that. And there are certain things that happen as a result of something that she may have said or done. And because of that, you have to sort of take a step back and realize what a risk she can be. And there are difficult decisions that the other Witchers as well have to wrestle with in those moments. Like, okay, what exactly do we do here? Like, what exactly is our goal? Like, especially when the Deathless Mother gets involved at one point in time, and she's going from body to body. Eventually, at first, trying to persuade Yennefer to try and bring Cirilla to her, and then eventually taking over Cirilla at one point in time. Like I said, we're going into spoilers here. That decision becomes even more difficult because it's like, by killing the Deathless Mother inside her, we're also going to be killing Ciri at the same time. And there's nothing to say that the Deathless Mother can take on another body and something like that. It's like there's a dilemma that is taking place that I thought was really well handled. Granted, that's pretty much the end of the season. We're getting there, but eventually all the steps leading up to that are a lot of world building, a lot of really great explorations of these characters. Like I said, you spend so much downtime with them, but it never feels slow. It develops these different tiers of characters in really great ways. But all the stuff that's going on with Yennefer as she's trying to get back to the other witches and eventually trying to figure out what is going on, and then eventually trying to find this princess who has gone AWOL. All of this stuff, especially all the politics that's coming into play regarding war and trying to usurp certain regimes in order to establish some kind of power and eventually also get to Cirilla, like all of this is eventually building to a big conflict that's coming Geralt's way. All of that stuff is handled so compellingly. Also, it was great to see Jaskier again, the bard from the first season. Yeah, he has a song in this one called Burn, Butcher, Burn, which is also very catchy, and it's probably going to get a few listens, very similar to Toss a Coin to a Witcher. And, it was great seeing him again. There's a point of time where he unites with Geralt and you're kind of like, yay! It's like, the first season really created this very interesting dynamic between the two of them because they're such polar opposites. And they capitalized on that tenfold in this season. They definitely doubled down on it. Did I love season 2? Yeah, I definitely did. I'm trying to think of, like, if I had a lot of issues with it. Yeah, a couple of times I thought some scenes could have been a little bit stronger. And while I did think it was riveting for the most part, there were a few moments that I felt like they did drag here and there. And there's a subplot in particular with a mage of sorts that doesn't quite go in the places that I expected it to. I'm sure they're setting it up for something in season 3, and there are setups to season 3 in this, and I think if you're a fan of the games or something like that, like each season has been a game, so you can assume what the third season's gonna be. With all that in mind, I still think season 2 was pretty great, and I highly recommend checking it out. I'm gonna give The Witcher season 2 an A. That is a big jump from the B- I gave the first season. Like that, I told you, it's a big jump. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.